Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thanks for tuning in. The theme of this episode is Am I the Asshole? Probably, but maybe not. We don't know yet. This is my first day back filming after I went on a little weekend getaway this weekend to the cutest little town. Like, you would never guess that this town would be in Florida because it's so cute looking. Like, it kind of gives like, you know what? It kind of gives like Gilmore Girls, Stars Hollow. Is that the town name? I'm pretty sure. Vibes. It's called Mount Dora in Florida. Some of you probably know about it, but highly recommend. It's such a cute little town. I got a cute little cottage right in the historic district, and me and Jack went and it was so fun. But let's get into this episode, guys. I'll talk a little bit more about my trip maybe later. All right, the title of the first story is Am I the Asshole for Punching My Stepdad After He Just Grabbed My Ass? So I, 15 male, have divorced parents because my mom cheated on my dad when I was around 10 with the man who is now my stepdad, which obviously already made me resent him. I have 2 step-siblings and 1 half-brother because of it too, who I'm close with. So yesterday I took a shower since it was a hot day and I came back from MMA practice and my stepdad just grabbed my ass. Not a brush, not some slip-up, straight up grabbed and squeezed my ass, so I punched him, which resulted in him breaking his nose. I never wanted that. It was just a response to someone grabbing my ass. My mom knows why and is mad at me and tells me I should lighten up since we were both men, and that's normal. No, that's not normal. Even my siblings are on my side and called him disgusting and refused to visit him in the ER. I admit punching him was wrong, but it was just a reflex since it's not the first time he was inappropriate. If I could, I wouldn't, even if he deserved it. So, am I the asshole for breaking his nose on accident in response to him grabbing my ass? Edit, thanks already for the advice and the kind words. I haven't thought about a police report to be honest, but I'm gonna make one as soon as possible and call maybe a friend to stay with for a few days. And, okay, well, first of all, that's really weird. I really hate that the mom's trying to defend the dad in this. Like, I don't really understand how you could ever defend that. Ew. It always bothers me so much when like someone picks their partner over their kid. Like that's actually so annoying. And you need to, especially in a situation like this, that's just gross. Someone asked if he could get CPS involved, and OP said CPS won't do anything no matter how many times I've tried to tell my therapist and the social workers that have our case. My dad is trying to get full custody since he's currently getting me every other weekend, but I'm worried about my siblings. Yeah, I don't think this man needs to be on the SO list immediately because you don't just do that. You don't do that ever. Not even like not to your own kid, not to your stepkid, and simply just not to a minor. Point blank. Period. Someone's asking how old the step-siblings and half-brother are, and OP said my step-sisters are twins and 17 years old, and my half-brother is only 5. Aww. Not the little 5-year-old. Okay, the update is the next day, and it says, hello, I've got an update. He got arrested. Yay. I texted my dad, who was completely furious, and called a buddy of his who's in the military police, who arrested my stepdad in the hospital since he was being discharged. He's for now not allowed anywhere near me or my siblings, and my mom is not too. We're all going to stay with my dad for the time being. I'm really glad. Thanks for all of the advice. I've also made my own report against him, told our social worker who was called, and told my dad's lawyer what happened. My mom and stepdad are on the station. My mom for being an enabler and not stopping him. Thank you all for the help and advice. I'm happy my siblings and me are safe. I'm going to update if anything else happens for anyone that cares, and thanks everyone again for the kind words and support. I hope you all enjoy your own life and are safe too. What does that mean, station? Are on the station? Or in the station? Is that what they meant? Probably. Sorry guys, something's wrong with me. Well, I'm glad. That's really good news. I mean, that's like the best possible outcome that you could have gotten. And thank God for OP's dad for actually like becoming, like doing something about it. Unlike his mom who just said it was normal, which is just a crazy thing. to say. I'm honestly surprised that that's like the first thing that's happened, because I feel like I guess he did say in the first story that it was not the first time he did something inappropriate. So that's really, I really hope he never gets freaking his little kid back, because this little kid's only 5 years old. He deserves like a chance to grow up with not that kind of life, because I can't even imagine like what this stepdad is capable of. And then he has his own little kid who's only 5 years old, extremely impressionable, and innocent little child. Oh my God, he better not ever get this kid back, actually. Like, that makes me sick to even think about him ever being like a present dad, because no, he should not be allowed to be around children or within a 2,000 foot distance from a school, or I don't know how long 2,000 feet is. I was going to say 2,000 miles, but I don't think that's possible. So unless, of course, you want to go up with Jeff Bezos' trash. The top comment says, the stepdad's kids are now living with OP's dad. And then someone responded, once the actual police are involved, CPS will take it more serious. As OP said, they didn't before due to lack of evidence, but now there's a police report that counts as evidence. At 17, they would have understood their father's actions and maybe would have been able to have a say in their placement, especially if both stepdad and OP's mom were arrested. Maybe emergency placement, someone said. And then someone responded, they can keep siblings together with the trusted adult in an emergency. Yeah, wait. What is the question here? Sorry. Sorry, what? Get out of my face. It's unusual, but I could absolutely see a supportive, protective parent like OP's dad appear to be taking in extra kids. Hey, so I'm just kind of scared because my Siri just went off, and I'm actually really scared. Oh, mommy. Wait, I'm really confused because it was a guy. And my Siri is definitely not a guy, I don't think. I think my Siri's a girl. So now I'm really even more scared because what do you mean? He said, sorry, there is nothing to repeat. Okay, I didn't ask you to repeat anything. So if you could shut your little mouth, that'd be great. You're scaring me. And I'm not even reading ghost stories today. Okay, anyway, sorry. Taking in extra kids in an essay situation like this, I'd do it in a heartbeat, if only so my bio kid isn't constantly worried about what's happening to his siblings, but honestly for the protection of other innocent children. I feel like that's pretty normal for them to be able to, like, they're not going to want to just place them with random people right off the bat, right? I don't really know how the system works, honestly, but I would hope that that's not the case. I would hope that someone that is close to the family could help, even though I do know that usually they don't really have, like, a right over them. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, it's not like he's trying to take the kids away from that parent. It's just like the parent's going to jail. So, all right. Well, let's move on to the next story because there's no updates anymore of that to that one. The title of the next story is, Am I the Asshole for Telling My Dad That I Don't Like His Wife After 20 plus years Knowing Her? For the first time in my life, I, a 28 female, got into a big argument with my dad. Context, my parents got divorced when I was 5. He almost immediately moved in with her. I lived with my mom, went there every other weekend and half of school holidays. The best moment of the weekend was the drive back and forth, since most of the time it was only the two of us. The rest of the time was spent with my stepmothers and 2 of her children. To today, my wife and I are buying a house, and I asked him if he could check it out on Wednesday. His answer was, just trust the estate agent. He doesn't have time because he may watch my stepsister's kids. He's watching those kids every effing week on the year. He's been doing that for years and always complains about how much energy it takes. I felt let down because he rarely has the occasion to show me that he cares. We have a cordial yet not deep relationship. That was one of the biggest steps of my life, and he didn't even try to be a part of it. I thought that maybe he was hurt by the fact that we didn't invite him to our current house, so I told him it wasn't personal, that I had nothing against him, but that I didn't feel like having my stepmother at my place because she's always been mean to me. But he was welcome to come by himself. He refused, got offended that he discovered that I didn't like his wife. Like, open your eyes. She hates on me all the time. He said I needed to let go of the past. Offered to get dinner someday soon to talk about it. I insisted to talk it out on the phone because I didn't feel like seeing him and that it was no conversation to have in a restaurant. Here are some examples of why I can't stand her anymore. Are they exaggerated? Is he right? And should I let go of them? When I was doing ballet at around 5 to 6 years old, she'd say that I was too fat to dance. Yeah, immediately. You don't even have to tell me anymore. That's really the end of the story. But we shall go on. She forced me to get my armpits and legs waxed at 10 because she was afraid that me shaving would look bad in her wedding pictures. It hurt like hell, by the way, and I still remember how I felt like shit. Didn't like me staying at home doing homework, reading, or playing video games, so I had to go out and hang out with my stepsister's friends. She made homophobic comments about gay marriage when she had the chance after I came out. She encouraged me to sleep with men in case it turned me straight. I was 14 at the time. I never told my dad that. She called me too fat when I was 16 for a whole summer. Called me too skinny at 18. I became super self-conscious of my body and lost a lot of weight. She undermined all my successes, especially school-related ones. She talked behind my back a lot to other family members. She would always disagree with me about everything. She would spend whole dinners talking about how me being a vegetarian is wrong and stupid. Never said a single word about her son's vegetarian girlfriend, though. She gives me the cold shoulder very often, or just acts super cold when I'm around. 23 years knowing her, and 1.5 years old therapy later, I finally unloaded what I had to say. My dad thinks he did his best as a dad, that she is nothing against me, and that I'm still in the past. He's now blaming my wife for my changing behavior. I used to be afraid to speak up for myself. I'm not his girl anymore because I don't smile as much as I used to. I'm done putting up a nice face when I'm being walked all over. Thanks. Well, Dad, it's called therapy. Was I wrong? Am I really living in the past? Should I have accepted his invite to talk about it face to face? No, and your dad can actually kick rocks. No, he can seriously kick fucking rocks because the fact that he... Ew. Sorry, that's all I have to say about that. Like, that, okay, first of all, talk about the wicked fucking stepmother or whatever the hell it's called in the Cinderella movie. Because this is literally that in real time. I would put like Nair in her shampoo or something. She actually sounds like the worst possible person in the world. Like, she actually deserves such terrible things to happen to her. Who does that to a little girl, first of all? And then just in general. Like, you're just a terrible person. You're a terrible person. And I cannot believe that you're even a real life person. Like, I literally cannot comprehend how people can be so terrible. OOP clarifies on how her dad got together with his current wife / her stepmother. OP said, he clearly cheated on my mom with her and introduced me to her before telling me that they were getting a divorce. Yep, apparently he had his priorities. Thanks for the support.
If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you.
All right, the update is 2 days later. Here's an update since some of you asked for it. I tried to keep it short, but it's not easy. Hope I'm not too long. My big brother texted me yesterday evening asking why I took such a big decision and saying that dad is not doing okay. I called my brother this morning to talk about it. To make a long story short, my brother's version is, I'm screwing the family dynamic and making things hard on my dad. Therapy is mostly BS and I'm just being difficult. My mom complained as well. I've been parentified and finally, a few months ago, felt brave enough to set boundaries. I've not been nice to my dad because I didn't give him my address. A few months ago, my dad asked for my address and said he would stop by without warning as he always does. I told him not to. I hated it. He brushed it off. I never gave him my address to keep my peace and quiet. I shouldn't have said anything about my stepmother and should think about the consequences it has on the whole family. That my words have been too harsh. My reply was, I didn't tell him his wife was an effing bitch, even though it's my opinion, so no, I haven't been too harsh. It changes everything for everyone. I should be more thankful to my parents. I shouldn't be so hard and let people have their way, or I should have spoken before. My version. I've never been brave enough to talk my truth. Both my brothers have had the chance to live their lives. I was the one behind, taking care of my mom and basically being her parent. I have a right to decide for myself. I can refuse calls after 8 p.m., decide who I want in my home, say no when I don't want things to happen. I needed therapy because I've been complacent with everyone my whole entire life. I finally deserve a chance to live my own life, and I'm setting my rules. Accept them, don't discuss them, and either stay or leave. After having had my brother on the phone, I decided to call my dad. Apparently, he understood that I didn't want to see him with his wife anymore. What I meant was, I don't want her in my home. I told my dad that my home was a safe space and I didn't want people I wasn't comfortable around in it. He laughed, said he loved me, but my reasoning was stupid. I told him she hurt me and I made a list if he wanted examples. He laughed about me making a list. I gave examples. He excused them all, said I exaggerated. According to him, I was well treated. She didn't beat me or abuse me. I was fed and she did things for me. He couldn't give me a single example of what she did for me. He didn't care about anything on the list from my previous post, brushed it off. Even when I told him, he never defended me. He said I was still his daughter. He loved me, but wasn't going to see me without his wife. That we would call anyway. He added that his wife has been crying for days about it. Like WTF, he told me I should have talked to her. I told him I never felt safe enough to talk to her face to face, but I could call her. Now, should I call her to tell her why I basically hate her? I just can't decide. It would be liberating and nobody could use the argument that you should be an adult and talk to her directly. But at the same time, it feels weird to call someone and tell them why you hate them. I've always been conflict avoidant, so this is all new to me. If it would feel liberating, do it. Truly do it, because she deserves to hear it, honestly, if she's doing that stuff. And then after that, I would say literally stop talking to them both, because until they can, I don't even know, until they can realize or maybe do a little self-reflection, because your dad is just as bad for enabling that behavior and being like, oh, it's fine, you're just exaggerating, and like trying to stick up for her when she did terrible things to you is a little bit ridiculous. So I would definitely be beep, 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 boop, boop. Hello. You literally are the worst type of person, okay? So let her know. I would. It doesn't really seem like he's going to change his mind and be like on your side unless you literally just shut him out and do like no contact and just be like, and oh my God, sorry, but I hate it. Why is that always like a shitty parent's response? Like he always made sure you had food on the table and you were you were never abused. Oh, so you mean like the bare minimum of what a parent should do for their child? Like that's the thing that's so annoying. It's like, I didn't ask to be here. None of us did. You made the decision to bring me into this world. That's your responsibility to treat me with respect and yeah, not abuse me, but also be a good, kind person. Like, I hate that. That does not mean just because you didn't get, which honestly, I would beg to differ. Like, I'm assuming he's talking about physical abuse here, but like she definitely emotionally and mentally abused her. But okay, so she didn't physically abuse me. Wow. Hooray. She should get Stepmom of the Year award. I've heard so many people like, oh, someone close to me actually. I won't name names, but somebody close to me, like, stopped talking to their dad, and then their mom was always like, she doesn't say this anymore, but at the beginning of the fiasco was always like, oh, well, he always made sure, like, you had a roof over your head and you were fed, and, like, he always tried to make sure that you had everything that you could possibly have. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't mean that he's not a narcissistic POS and that he ruins their mental health. So like, why should they keep talking to someone that constantly ruins someone's mental health? Like, no, it's not worth it to keep that person in your life just because they tried. Yeah, they did the bare minimum of being a parent. That's what a parent is supposed to do. Oh my God, no, I could actually get so heated about this right now because it's so annoying. Like the excuses, it's like, okay, that doesn't mean that like I owe them a relationship with me, you know? Like, I don't owe them because they did the bare minimum of being a parent and making sure that I was fed and like, what? Stop, I'm literally gonna cry. I can't deal with it. All right, another update. For those who asked, here is the update. I followed the huge majority of your advice and didn't call my stepmother. Oops, that wasn't my advice. I didn't reach out to her or my dad. My wife and I sent our "we said yes" cards to announce that we got married. We only invited our 6 close friends and celebrated in a villa 2 hours from home. We sent a total of 10 cards to family members. Here are the reactions so far. Everything is translated since I'm French. My dad, he surprisingly had the best reaction on my side. He texted me, "Thank you for the card, be happy, hugs and kisses." My mother called me crying, saying that I hurt her. She wished we had told her beforehand and was disappointed to learn this way. She said she would have understood if I had said I was only inviting friends. She added that she needed time to process it. She canceled our dinner last night. I said I understood, but still stood my ground by saying we had the wedding we wanted and that it wasn't personal. My wife's mother texted us to congratulate us and added that we looked great in our wedding gowns. My sister-in-law, oldest brother's wife, I've known her since I was 2, texted me a horrible text. She said she wouldn't thank me for the card and she wouldn't keep it, that I was using the best method to cut all ties with my family. She didn't mind not being invited, but would have wanted us to tell her beforehand. She talked on the phone with my mom before my mom called me, and she would have been happy for us if we had done so. She added that I was an adult, but I still needed to reflect on my decisions to really make sure I was making the right ones. She then sent another text to say that it was only coming from her, not my brother or my 3 teenage nieces. My response was pretty firm, saying how I find her text disgusting and unfair. She had no right to talk to me in such a harsh way. That I don't ask for opinions about my choices and that I didn't question their choice when they chose to move to the other side of the country. I was simply happy for them and gave them my support when everybody was questioning their choices. My brother, her husband, just texted me that it was surprising to learn the news via a card, but he kind of knew it was the way that we were going. He said that we looked beautiful in the photos and looked really happy as well. He advised me not to go no contact with those who love me. One of my nieces, their oldest daughter, were pretty close. She's 17, texted me saying we looked lovely in our pictures and she's super happy for us. She said she would have liked to share the joy on our big day, but totally understood that it was our day and we deserved to decide how it went. She added that my brother hid the cards so it wouldn't be thrown away. It really helped me feel better. I'm still waiting on my other brother's reaction, the one who called me last time. Also, one of my aunts, but she's super cool. I'm not worried. My wife is waiting on her grandparents and her aunts. Here's the reason why we didn't want to tell anyone. We found it cocky to tell people. We're getting married, but you're not invited. Also, my mom is a pro at guilt tripping me. She says she would have liked to know, but I'm 100% sure she would have tried to change my mind. She would have texted on D-Day something like, "Enjoy your day. Still very sad to not be a part of it, but that's your decision." All my family would have talked behind my back. They do it about everybody, and negativity would have ensured before our big day. We didn't want to take any risk of negative comments being made. We chose to send cards to make it more official. We printed cards with pictures and sealed it with golden wax. We didn't want to just tell them on the phone. Also, I can't tell one thing to a family member without them calling the other immediately to talk about it. Telling them one by one would have meant taking the risk to let somebody else announce it. I'm sure they'd say that they wouldn't do it, but I don't trust them anymore. I really don't think any of them would have been happy for us if we would have told them beforehand. I think that they're hurt that they weren't a part of it, but it's easier to blame it on something else. Wow. Your family sounds like a damn handful, for the love of God. I just hate that people can't self-reflect, honestly. It's just so annoying. Just take a look in the mirror and just realize what you are doing wrong in this situation and why someone wouldn't want you at a special event. But some people are really incapable. There's this long comment from OOP that I'm going to read that is additional information. She said, "Some of you were kind of lost about why I didn't invite my parents to my wedding or let them know beforehand. First, we wanted the day to be about us, not a family dinner. We didn't want anyone to crash the party and enjoy life as we always do, with our close friends. But for those who are interested in the draw behind all that, here it is. I didn't understand my childhood traumas and abuse before therapy. My wife saw them and warned me, but it took time for me to realize that she was right. I've always felt like my dad wasn't there, The only support I've had from him was child support and big gifts. Don't get me wrong, I loved that he bought me a car at 18, but I would have preferred having had a real relationship with him. He was passive and knows absolutely nothing about me. He's let my stepmother be an ass to me, call me fat, make homophobic comments during my teenage years, make me feel like I wasn't fitting in, not being good enough. She hated that I was an introvert and made me dance at parties, go out with my stepsister's friends, etc. I hated having to see her. On the other hand, after my parents' divorce when I was 5, I've always felt responsible for my mother. She was really sad, possibly depressed, but I couldn't see it in my child eyes. She relied on me for emotional support. I felt responsible for her happiness and to not leave her alone. She always felt so lonely, and I was the one who was in charge of being there. Deep down, I was always afraid she would commit suicide. I don't know if she ever made a comment about that, but I felt dreadfully afraid that it could happen, and I needed to be there for her. Her boyfriend lived with us for 5 years. I was 12 when he moved in. They got into bad arguments, which could end up being physical. I was always ready to jump at him if needed, even though I never got to. When I grew up and moved out, if I didn't call her twice a week, she'd call and say, "If you don't call, I don't talk to anyone," or I could be dead and nobody would know. That meant going home on weekends as a student, spending holidays with her, making sure she had enough food on the table. She did, but always complained about finances, so I tried to help. Things got better with my mom when she got a new boyfriend around 3 years ago. She doesn't demand as much, but is still bad with boundaries. They broke up in November, and she was all over my back again, calling me at 7:30 p.m. because my aunt had bought a new headset and Bluetooth that wasn't working, calling saying that her bank app wasn't working on her computer, but it worked on her phone, and saying stuff like, "Well, it'll find a way." It's really annoying, though. If only I had someone to fix it. Mind you, I'm 1 hour away. My brother, 10 years older, is 30 minutes away, but he has a family and I don't. She wouldn't like to bother him. It was so intense that every time she called, about 4 times a week, sometimes multiple times a day, I would feel anxiety mount up and feel sick to my stomach. It kind of always was this way. Anyways, if she called because I hadn't called before, there was a chance for her to make not so nice comments about the fact that I didn't call. And after years of guilt tripping, it didn't take much to make me feel guilty. I don't know if my brothers ever got it, though, if they had seen it. For example, for Christmas, we bought my mom a new phone. My wife helped me choose one. I ordered it, wrapped, and left in a bag at my mom's. They were spending Christmas with my oldest brothers. I was with my wife's family and stayed there for 3 days. Mind you, none of my brothers, their wives, or my teenage nieces helped my mom set up the phone. They thought I would do it anyways when she got back. I have to drive 1 hour back and forth each time. To add insult to injury, when I called to wish them a Merry Christmas after 2 minutes on the phone, I was talking to my brother. My mom interrupted us to ask me if I remembered her email password, which I had changed a week prior when I had to go to her place to help, because she couldn't check her emails for 3 days, as if her request was more important than me talking with my brother. The oldest brother agrees that it hasn't been easy on me. He should have taken care of the phone and that my mom can be a lot. My other brother thinks I'm mean for not letting my mom call after 8 p.m. or that I don't answer my phone when I watch a movie at home because it upsets my mom. So understanding all this in therapy was hard. It made me feel like an orphan. I don't want to offend anyone, like I didn't have any parents. Most of my grandparents died when I was under 7, and I lost my grandmother in October. It took me some time to get over that feeling of not having parents. Somehow, they feel more like a chore. I know they love me, but they don't understand how hard it is on me. I'm so thankful for my wife. She truly saved me by showing me that relationships with my family was healthy, that I was free to do things my way if I wanted to. She's been so patient but harsh when needed to. She's a true lifesaver, and I'm sure that's why my family doesn't really like her. She's set the spotlight on what was wrong. She's helped me out of the rocking boat. I'm currently reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents and realized that my mom is an emotional parent and my dad is a passive parent. If anyone has any reviews about the book, feel free to tell me. Yeah, that's like the worst, is like constantly feeling that's like the weight of the world on you because you feel like you're responsible for your mother when it should be the other way around. Like your mother is responsible for you, and I could go on for days about how terrible parentification is, and like parentification can also take place like this. Like in this situation, she was made to be her the parent of her mother, or it could be like the parents making one, like the older kid watch all the younger kids basically, and like they parentify them by making them into like the parent because they are constantly responsible for their younger siblings when like they're all children and they should all be equally having a childhood experience and not one having to be a freaking parent. And it's just like so ridiculous, and it bothers me so much. And I feel like sometimes like parents will specifically have kids at certain times so that they have like a built-in babysitter. And like I just think that's so, I feel like my sister honestly got a little bit of that, which I know that like it's crazy how different our childhoods were because we're so different in age. Like she's 12 years older than me, and then my brother is like 5 years older than me. I always forget how old my brother is, honestly. 5 or 6 years older than me. So like we all had such different childhoods because it was all such a different stage of life that my parents were at. Like they were teenagers when they had my sister, which as you can imagine doesn't really make for the healthiest of childhoods. So my sister had to go through a lot of terrible stuff. Like the things I've learned over the years that she went through, like it truly, I understand why she is the way she is, and she was the way she was when I was growing up, because terrible things happened to her. And like not even necessarily that my parents did to her, but like things that happened to her that were done by other people. But yeah, it's just really crazy. But I'm pretty sure, like, I feel like my parents did kind of parentify my sister because she was the older one. So it's like she was 12 and I was a baby. So she probably, like, I know she had to take care of me a lot, and also my older brother as well. And I remember, like, always being, she would always babysit us. And I remember because we used to like be so scarred by spaghetti for years. Me and my brother wouldn't eat spaghetti. Like we hated spaghetti. We refused to eat spaghetti because my sister used to make a big ass pot of spaghetti, and then she would make us eat all of it. And like we literally, if she even looked away for like a second, we would try to like shove it down the trash can because she would literally make us eat all the fucking spaghetti, and it was like nasty. We were like, please no. Oh my God. And she would also freaking hold me down, and then you know that thing you do with like a loogie where you can like spit it out and then suck it back up really fast? She would always fucking do that to me when I was just a little girl, okay? That's so disgusting. She was so good at it. She could make it go so long and like almost touch the tip of my nose and then suck it back up. And I was like, oh, thank God. It's like really living on the edge there. I was always stressed every time she did that. All right, the top comment says OOPs and her relationship with her family are a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. Only a matter of time until it implodes into a giant mess. That stepmother checks every box on the evil Disney fairy tale stepmother, though. No, yeah, that's literally so real. Like, the worst, actually the worst freaking stepmother ever. I'm so glad I didn't get, even though I surely did like try to act like my stepmom was an evil stepmother, which is crazy because I have the same exact dynamic as Cinderella, because I had a stepmom with two stepsisters, but I was like best friends with my stepsisters growing up, and my stepmom I definitely resented because, you know, I was little, I didn't know. Now I'm very grateful for her and I love her so much, but like, yeah, growing up I definitely had a different version of the story and a different outlook on the story, and I was also being fed a lot of stuff about my dad and about my stepmom, and so I always had like a different outlook on that, and I kind of like villainized my stepmom, honestly, because I was just a little girl and like I didn't want my dad and my mom to be separated, even though thank God they did, because I would have probably been not well. The title of the next story is Am I the Asshole If I Expose My Mom's Money Problems to My Dad After She Spent My Tuition? Hi, this is my first post, so sorry if it's a bit messy. I, 20 female, have always supported my mom, 43 female, even financially, and I usually try to understand her side. My dad, 44 male, works overseas and sends money twice a month for groceries, bills, and school. He usually sends it to my mom, who then distributes it. Earlier this month, my dad came home after working abroad for 6 months. He had all of our expenses mapped out, including my tuition, since I'm an incoming second-year aeronautical engineering student, which is really expensive where I live. He gave my mom around $1,000 for my enrollment fee, and that is like 60% of the whole tuition fee. Dad didn't know was that I still had a $350 balance from my previous semester. My mom used part of the $1,000 for that balance, and I agreed not to tell my dad because I trusted she would figure out a way to cover the rest. Fast forward to last week, I finished my documents, reserved my enrollment, and was waiting for the tuition payment. That's when I found out my mom had already used the remaining money for reasons that she won't explain. She's been trying to recoup it, but nothing has come through. Prior to that, she told me she'll never touch my enrollment money since it'll be hard to recover. Today is the last day of late enrollment. If my tuition isn't paid by 6 p.m., I lose my slot. I've already missed 2 weeks of classes, including major and lab subjects, and I completely broke down. I told my mom I'm tired of always having to compromise because she borrows or misuses money. I told her if this continues, I'll have no choice but to tell my dad everything, not just about my tuition, but also about her gambling and borrowing habits I've had to help cover up for years. The problem is, if I tell him, my parents will have a huge fight and he'll never trust her with money again. But I'm exhausted, and now my education is on the line. Am I the asshole if I'd finally tell my dad the truth? You need to tell your dad the truth. That's like the only option here. Because one, you shouldn't have to be taking care of your mom. And two, your poor dad is also having, like, that's literally financial abuse. I don't know if that's actually financial abuse, but I feel like that's financial abuse because she's literally abusing the finances and he's giving her money and then she's like lying about it and using stuff for other stuff behind his back and like gambling away money. No, that's an immediate no for me. Also, the fact that all of these stories are just about terrible parents, and I didn't even mean to pick like a freaking terrible parent theme, like, yikes. I'm literally losing faith in humanity today. There's a 30-minute later update says, my mom threatened me by saying if I tell my dad, there would be a huge fight and they might separate and that dad won't want to see mom again. Well, that is her fault. You do not need to be responsible for your mother's actions and your mother's decisions to be irresponsible at all. And your dad deserves to know what's happening as well. And like, your mom's actually so manipulative by doing that. Like, there's gonna be a huge we're gonna separate and we're gonna get in a huge fight because of what you did. Like, girl, I didn't make you do that. You're making these decisions that are gonna make him want to separate from you and make him want to leave you and fight with you. What do you mean? Ugh. Okay. Update the next day. Another update for y'all. Dad was doing his medical earlier and contract signing, hence why I wasn't able to tell him. Didn't want to talk about it on the phone. The moment he got home, I immediately told him about the situation. And while he was not mad at me, I could sense his disappointment, which I understand. I explained the whole situation, and after that, he went to confront my mom via call, since we're in the city and my mom is at our hometown. After a bit of grilling, mom eventually confessed that aside from using the money to pay back the money she owed other people, she did use some for gambling in hopes of having a higher return, which unfortunately did not happen. They had a talk about it. I could sense that dad was holding back. And dad is now requesting a list of all the people she owed and how much she owes, but she has yet to reply. Dad has also managed to find a way to get the funds for my enrollment. Fortunately, it didn't become a reason for them to separate, though he has told me that he would be sending the money directly to us, my siblings and I, from now on, especially our allowances. I have no idea regarding the bills and groceries. Anyway, thank you all so much for your insights as it has helped me make the right choice, which I did, and hopefully it helps my mom to overcome her gambling and tendency to borrow from other people. I'd be reporting to school tomorrow and appeal if they could still slip me in an available slot and will update. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think your dad just has to like cut her off from access to money unless it's like things for like groceries and things, and then she needs to like make a vow to get help because it seems like she needs to go to like Gamblers Anonymous or whatever that is, you know? Okay, this is the last update. It's 4 days later and 5 from the original post. It says, hi again, and I do apologize if it took a while for me to update. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for their responses as it helped me see that my mom's behavior should have never been allowed to continue. I fully accept the criticisms about me and I know my wrongdoings. Second, I told my dad about the situation, and while he was mad at first for me not telling him earlier, well, not the angry type, but disappointed type, he managed to find a way to secure the funds for my tuition fee. I also managed to get enrolled just this Saturday, though I missed 2 weeks worth of lessons as well as an assessment. I spent the following days sending emails to my professors so that I could catch up. Dad had a bit of a talk with mom through a video call since mom is currently in our hometown while my dad and I are in the city. I study in the city while my dad was here for his documents and medical. He pressed on questioning her until it was revealed that she gambled the money in hopes of getting high return to pay the money she owes to various people, as well as return the money that was supposed to be for my education. Wait, I'm confused because this is literally the same update. Now, some of you might be wondering why my dad would finance my college. I'm actually from the Philippines, so culture here is a bit different, as there would be parents who would work so they can send their kids to college, and my dad happens to be one of those. Anyway, I also told dad about the money she owed to my friends as well, and he found himself questioning why mom would borrow money when he would send most of his salary to us, which is admittedly more than enough if there had been no loans to pay. Since then, however, my youngest sister told me that mom seemed down, like she has had no fight left in her and gave up completely. She was unusually quiet too. I have no idea what else is happening since she hasn't talked to me or dad ever since. I did send a message to my mom explaining why I did what I did. I do ask about her to my siblings since she had deactivated her account. Hopefully, when she comes here to the city to switch with my dad, who will then look after my siblings before he has to work again, we can at least bring back some of that bond we had before the entire fiasco happened. Once again, thank you all so much for the kind and warm reception toward my dilemma, and I hope that none of you will go through what I experienced. Oh, it's really sad because I don't know what like the culture is like in the Philippines, but it sounds like she really, really, really needs to like go to therapy and be medicated for depression or something, or just like go and see a psychiatrist and get, I don't know, she could have something other than depression, but it sounds like she has some type of mental illness that like she is really depressed and stuff. And I don't know how the culture with mental illness is in the Philippines, but I feel like it's like a worldwide thing where there's like a stigma, because although I do think it's gotten a lot better in like the US, I still think there's such a stigma around it, even though I don't personally feel the pressure of that stigma anymore. I used to, but I think like I was exposed to it so early because I was diagnosed with depression like at such a young age. Well, like I was like a sophomore, so I feel like that's pretty young, like 15 years old, 14 years old, around that age. So I don't know. I think I've just gotten used to it, and I've been like also in such shitty times of my life, like so depressed and anxious where I didn't even want to live anymore. So I feel like now that I'm out of that and I'm medicated and stuff, I'm like more so proud and want to spread the word that like therapy and medicine can help, and like going to the doctor and figuring out your mental health helps, and it's worth looking into, and not just like looking at these silly little freaking podcasters, gurus saying like, just go to the gym, you're gonna feel not depressed anymore and you're not gonna want to die. Like, no, because no, even if I ran 200 miles a day and literally had endorphins running through my body from a 200-mile run, I still would be depressed and anxious. Like, I'm sorry, that's just how my body is. And other people have other mental illness as well. So it's like, no, stop freaking feeding into the narrative of like mental illness isn't real and it's just like something that you choose. And I hate when people say like, it's your choice to be, oh no, I'm gonna freak out. I just triggered myself because like genuinely hearing someone say like, it's your choice to wake up and like be happy or be depressed, because if you're depressed, then just like go on a walk and like think happy thoughts and positive affirmations. And like, while I do agree in like positive affirmations and exercise and all of that, I don't agree that that can solve all of your problems. At some point, it is a bigger issue. And like, trust, I have freaking tested this out. I have tested this theory, okay? And it wasn't good, all right? Because I tried to just like have a positive outlook, and honestly, having a positive outlook when you're depressed and anxious is like one of the hardest things that you could ever do, because your brain is constantly just fighting you to be like negative and think terrible things and like constantly have thoughts of just awful ideations. And yeah, so like I've tested that theory, and of course that can work for some people. So yeah, try it out, but like at a certain point you gotta get it together and get some help, because it's not worth feeling that way. It's not worth fighting that and like trying to feel better when you've tried everything and you still don't feel well. The top comment says, online gambling is on the rise in the Philippines, and there are some small-time gambling consolidated in the towns with games like Sakla, illegal number games, Jutang, and even cockfights. I suspect OOP's mom might be addicted by one of the four I mentioned. OOP did what she had to do, but the rest is up to the parents. Mom needs an intervention. I have no idea what any of that is. Cockfights? Is a cockfight? Is that like a freaking... Is that like a chicken? Like the male chickens? Like how there would be like dog fights, illegal dog fights? Wait, that's actually kind of crazy. Wait, I don't like that. Oh no. That's actually a thing? No, I don't like it. Why are they doing cockfights? Ugh. I don't like it. Oh no. Oh, now I'm gonna hyperfixate on this. Cockfights? There's a dead one. Wait. They kill them? Oh my god. Dead cock after cockfight. A fighting cock stands over its defeated opponent during... No. I'm sick of it. No, I can't. I'm sorry. I know that there's like other... Like, I know that other cultures are like different and stuff, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, I actually can't take it. Wait, they've been doing this since World War II? There's black and white photos of cockfights? I don't agree. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with that. I don't like it. That makes me so sad. Like, they can't consent to that. It's fine if you want to go fight like in your MMA or your UFC or whatever. That's fine. Like, that's your decision. But to make animals fight is actually so sad. Like Michael Vick, he deserves cruel and unusual punishment. And what does he do? What does he do now? Like, what? How long did he go to jail for? Because, please. 23 months? And he only served 21 months? I don't like it. That just makes me sad. But that's all the freaking stories. Now I'm really upset, and I'm just like really mad I just discovered that, because now all I'm going to think about is the fact that there's freaking cockfights and these poor little animals killing each other. For what? For the pure entertainment? Like, why do we have to ruin that? Like, why do we have to do that? Like, that's just so rude. Okay, but anyways, love you guys. And I'm sorry, I don't want to be offensive, because I know that all like cultures are different, but I don't agree with the fights. Sorry, I don't agree with it. Okay? But I love you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please let me know what you thought in the comments. I love to hear your questions and your comments and your concerns. I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Love you so much. Aww.
Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.